To 90.4 Oman FM. It's Esma here. Welcome back to Muscat, Candid. And today we have a new episode on From the Author. And I have with me Anisha. Anisha, how are you?
I'm very good. Thank you, Asma, for having me today.
So Anisha is the founder of Oman Book Lovers Club, right? And we had just had, Oman Books Lovers Club just had the biggest event of the season. We had the Book Fest 2023. Well, the biggest event in literature, at least, right? Or in literary content, just to be specific. So let's talk about that. First things first. Talk to me about Book Fest. Talk to me about the organizers, the objectives, whatever you'd like to share.
Yes. So this is an idea conceived by Mr. Shaukat Ali of Al-Baj Books.
Right.
This is the third episode of the Book Fest. The first edition was 2018. Second was 2019. So it was he's a big businessman of 30 years, but very passionate about growing the love for reading. So this idea of Book Fest was not actually with the intention of making profits, but to create some space for, connecting book lovers. And so with this idea, he went to the Indian Social Club. And so the organizers now, are Indian Social Club under the aegis of Indian Embassy, with the blessings of Indian Embassy, in association with Al-Baj. So that's how the organizers are structured. Now, the two editions were amazing. They had good response. A lot of books were sold. A lot of events happened. The first edition had a famous scientist from India coming in as a special guest as the inaugurator. So all of that happened. Now, this year, when they were trying to get ready for it, since September, Al-Baj contacted me that we are planning something and we'll keep you posted. We'll invite you to join. And then January, I think just 8 days before the event, we got to know, okay, can you do this? I said, very well. I don't know what they had in mind. Maybe just a little bit of help. But Oman Book Lovers Club's team goes all crazy. We go all out.
All right. By going all out, you mean you go all out, Anisha. Okay?
No, I'll absolutely give credit to the team I have. Now, I'm blessed. I think the journey of almost 2 years, there have been people who've come and gone. Obviously, it's voluntary. It's just a group of us friends, passionate people. We're not an organization. We're not registered. We're just a group of passionate book lovers. Yeah. So there have been a lot of people in this whole journey who have contributed to making Oman Book Lovers Club what it is now. So yes, all of us. I was blessed that everybody who has been passive, even in the recent period, came out, and we had a team of 33 volunteers.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah. It's amazing. Look at that. Look at you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations for the Book Fest. I think because I was there for one day, and obviously under your invitation, thank you so much for even considering me.
Absolutely.
Those panel discussions that we had were crazy, and it was just, surrounding different topics in literature, fiction vs non-fiction, the young adults panel. Yeah. And it was very interesting to sit and have these conversations. But I'm also now connected to the literary community. I mean, I knew they existed. And as a person that is also a writer and a reader, right? This is right up my alley. So why From the Author was created, so that we can shine a light at what is dimmed down as a talent. Writers are there's too many writers, I think.
Yeah.
And it is a little complicated to stand out.
It's not an easy profession.
Not at all. Yeah. Not at all. But also requires a lot of creativity and a lot of talent. And you can never know. It's just that one thing that absolutely anyone can do. Now, I want to ask you this. Why is it important to have a literary community here in Oman?
Okay. So I think I'll break this into two parts. The importance of reading. I think we've talked about well enough about that. In your episodes, I've heard you talk about. In other spaces, we've talked about that. Yeah. So I think first of all, the importance of reading. Why we need people to read to continue to have generations with intellect.
Yes.
I think we've established that. So let's move on. Now, why do we need a community? And in Oman, basically, as humankind, as a species, we always want to connect with people. That's an innate need. That's an innate characteristic of human. We're a social animal, I think, as simple as that. So we have various kinds of communities. We have college communities, we have residential communities. We need communities for a sense of belongingness. So I think a community of readers and writers helps us feel like we belong somewhere. Reading is anyway a declining habit in general. We're attracted to the visual media. So the few readers that there are, they need their tribe, as they say. They want to connect with people. Also, when you're reading, the fact is we're learning something. Whether it's a non-fiction book, you're learning a lesson. Yes. Even a fiction book, you're learning a lesson that we talked about in the panel discussion. If none of these, we're learning language, we're learning vocabulary.
Yeah.
If none of that, we're still learning to focus and concentrate. We're learning. When we're reading, we're learning by default. And when you read with someone, a community reading helps us learn better. What I learned from a certain book and what you learned from a certain book, exchanging that information. So connecting with fellow readers is very important to learn better, to have to make more, to get more joy out of the process of reading, and also be able to feel like, it also motivates you. The book clubs are popular entities, the book club discussions. So, when you have read something you want to discuss, there's also a sense of reporting mechanism. Oh, I have to read this today because I have to report to my tribe, So there are all these things that contribute to the need of having a community in general. Now, when it comes to Oman, I feel all the more required to talk more about these communities and maybe make people more aware, because when I started Oman Book Lovers Club, I thought I was doing something very fancy and unique, and I patted myself on my back. Oh wow, I'm so great. Very soon I realized I was doing nothing great. Maybe for the English speaking community and maybe for the expats, yes, maybe this group may have been a pioneer. Maybe there wasn't anything as major existing, but the Arabic world is like a rabbit hole. There is just so much and more I discover every day.
Yeah.
There are many, many platforms. I sometimes feel there are more readers in the population of Oman. So I don't know where that comes from, but
it comes from people speaking the Arabic language. It comes from people preferring to read in Arabic.
Yeah.
It comes from people comfortably, pursuing literature, but only in the Arabic language. However, Arabic literature is like a whole new other level. You don't even test it. I wrote, when I first started writing, I think I was 11.
Wow.
Right? And I started writing in Arabic because I was just in school, right?
Yeah.
So I started writing in Arabic. You have no idea. 2 years later, it wasn't even too long, I switched to writing in English. And guess what? I never wrote in Arabic again.
Oh God.
I never looked back again because it was just literally 50 times easier.
Yeah, is it?
It is.
Arabic is difficult.
And I'm a native speaker.
It's the same. I think I can't express as well in Hindi as I can in English. Yeah.
I get it. Yeah. All right, let's talk about the literary community a little bit more.
Yeah.
You are, you're headfirst handling it and dealing with it. You're exposed to the literary community here in Oman, right? At least for the English sector, right? For me, I am just skimming the top. I'm just trying to get people to be interviewed on From the Author. That's it. Now, I want to get from your opinion, your perspective. What do you think is happening right now? Do you think that the literary community is growing? Do you think it's shrinking? What is happening?
My perspective, honestly, and I wouldn't say, I would disagree with you that I'm handling it hands-on, nothing like that. All I'm trying to do is just joining the dots, as I said before. So yes, I have been passionately, aggressively trying to network and, make relationships and get my, foot into the door, if I may say so, because I'm new. I'm just 2 years into Oman, and making relationships as an outsider wasn't obviously easy. I mean, you're just trying to discover.
Do you mind if I ask you, how long have you been here in Oman?
2 years.
Okay.
2 years. I came in December 2021, and March is when I created this, and I just created it with a small idea of sharing books. I'm sure we've talked about, and then it just, when I discovered there's so much existing, then my vision changed to let's connect everything. So one-stop shop for all things and information on books. So I'm just connecting is what I'll say. And as far as I can see, in the last 2 years, I think there has been some catalyst that's worked its way through, and a lot of things are shaking, and the literary community is suddenly growing. Maybe they existed, readers existed, and they always wanted, I am looking for people like me, and they didn't know so many others existed. There was Paper Cut Club all along. There was Al-Moj Book Club. There is a Arabic platform called Book Friends _OM. And there are many more, like SQU Book Club. There are so many. And they didn't know each other. Maybe they didn't feel the need to, because they're just, enjoying. There's Jane Jaffer's book club. So there are many such. Becca Olson, of course, she has a community of her own, people borrowing. But now that we all of us together, you doing what you're doing, we doing what we're doing, everybody else, Fatma doing what she's doing, everybody started talking about it. There's so much happening on Oman FM, especially, with the books scene. that's where I feel it's growing and it's thriving, because readers who were sitting in their own silos are now connecting. The people listening to your shows, the people getting more and more aware about local authors, which they weren't before. And I think the whole action around the love for books, so many shows, media stories, platforms, libraries, bookstores, online bookstores, everything is coming up more and more and more. I feel that way because it's possible I just see that, so I just know about that.
No, you're right. We are connecting to each other now a bit more than we used to, and to be honest, it feels like we're all throwing one big party.
Yep, I agree. To be honest, in the book fest, and I'm just speaking extra here, in the book fest, and I was sitting on my seat, and I would look left and look at all those faces, the relationships I've built over the last 1.5 years. It gave me such joy, Asma, to be in this space at one time with all these faces I like. And I said this to Matt, Amar, Fatma, I'm feeling this immense joy to see all these faces I never met before. I met Amar, we didn't meet before. But yes, events like these, shows like these, more communities, connecting all the communities together, and maybe events in bookshops, maybe book fests, small, big, at any scale. But talking more about it is getting people together and more readers coming up of all ages, which is what we need to do to preserve the intellect in the future generation.
I think this is also something that attracts me to book clubs. Me personally, I don't know about anyone else, right? Reading is such a solitude act.
Yes.
Right? Someone sits with themselves, reading a book. It's how people sometimes spend an afternoon. It's how people seek knowledge. Whatever the objective that you have behind reading, such a solitude act. It's just such a solitude act. So when we can build a community to bring all these people that are going solo with this, putting them together, knowing that each and every one of them has a good sized head on their shoulders. You know, everybody's gonna be just a little smarter than average.
I always like to say, leaders may not be readers, but readers will always be leaders. I know there's a different quote around it with readers and leaders, but I like to say that intellectual people may or may not have read. I wouldn't say that all of them read. That will be too ambitious. But a reader would always be an intellectual because they've read. That's what I personally feel. And
because they know.
Sorry.
Because people that read know. You heard it here first, Muscat Candid. All right. I think I'm going to share with you my favorite moment in Bookfest, right? First of all,
to everyone.
One favorite thing that I felt when I walked into the book fest, right? The first thing I did, I walked in a little bit early, so before the panel, and Daza was launching his book, and he was launching his book, and I think I was so distracted, I was trying to listen to him, but at the same time I was so distracted at the amount of little people.
Yeah.
All these babies, they're 6, 5, all the way to 11, 14, 15, sitting there looking at all these tables filled with books, and they're choosing. Yeah. They're picking and choosing these books. They're like, oh, I don't like this, I like that. And I remember chatting with this young girl, I can't even remember her name. I think she was barely 6 or 7. I'm like, what are you picking today? Yeah. She's like, I don't like this.
Wow.
I'm like, hey,
the child would have read enough to know what she likes or she doesn't. I'm assuming she or he, whatever,
That's insane. It's just beautiful and refreshing to see young people being enthusiastic to read again. And I think that is what, that's what an event like Bookfest can provide to the community. So please, 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 don't you ever stop. May we have more and more editions of this Bookfest, and may it grow, and hopefully I can help with anything I can.
Absolutely.
I'm down. I definitely am down. All right, let's move on a little bit. I think we spoke about this in most of our, these community meetings when we're talking about reading and writing. We always talk about this getting more readers or getting more people excited about books again, right? This is always an ongoing discussion. I don't want to kind of pinpoint it, because I'm sure you've had these discussion at length with a lot, maybe over here on Oman FM as well, I'm not sure, but maybe. However, I want to know how we can, or what can we do as a point of action, right? Or what can Oman Book Club do, right, for the community next?
See, I think as we do in our book discussion, the club, there's reading challenge, then there's book lovers connect, then there's kids club, teens club, toddlers club. So all of these activities have been online till now, virtual, and we're trying to take it to physical meets. Since physical meets are not as easy to organize, maybe one of each every quarter. So creating spaces. So I'll tell you with practical experience and why I'm going back to my own story, and because you asked me what Oman Book Lovers Club can do. Yeah. In Kids Club, my first reach out was obviously the members, and then I also reached out to my daughter's class. At least some children should start joining. If there were 10 children who read, there were 10 other children who just came because their friends were coming. So by just creating these events, these small meetups, the peer pressure is creating more readers. Okay, this sounds like fun, 2 of my friends are going, let me also go. So the third child will also start reading Wimpy Kid. Well, I'm not quite a promoter of the new genre of books. Well, that's my personal opinion. But that's the deer psychology, the deer methodology. You attract the children with the popular books and then let them explore, slightly nudge them to read other books also, and so many mothers come to me saying, this child is not reading, can you help me? So I say the easiest book, take a comic book or take a graphic novel. I have a couple of books which are like cars, movie books, so the Hulk and the cars. So I let them take that first. So the child first forms a relationship with the object called book because they've already watched that movie and they like the character, so they like looking at it,
Yeah.
So then you have associated with, okay, this object book can be interesting too. And then you gradually nudge them into reading slightly more text heavy and less graphic. So those are the baby steps one can do to get children into reading. And then more and more events, maybe author interaction, storytelling that Let's Read does, that Becca's library does. We do. Many other platforms are doing such events, and they should continue. Maybe the bookstores should also promote a little bit more of that. We have lots of authors in Oman. Why not have a storytelling with Amar?
Yeah,
he's a brilliant storyteller.
Tell me about it. I had a whole year of this. A whole year of just connecting authors and writers out there.
So, and people like Jane, I'm sure there are many more. So these are the few things that I think we can do, and as a group I will be focusing on this year.
Yeah. Okay. So where can our audience find you and get connected to your events?
Absolutely. Yes. So we are straight Oman Book Lovers Club, no space, no underscore on Instagram. Okay. And the same name on Facebook. So we have a Facebook group for Oman residents.
Yeah.
On Instagram, anybody can follow. Our book sharing system is within the Facebook group. All the other events, all the meetups, everything is posted on Instagram too. So we are on Instagram, Facebook page, Facebook group, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, everything.
Awesome. All right. Before I go, you said something interesting when you were answering the question before this one. That's why my trail of thoughts were just like trembling for a second. You said something interesting. You was talking about how it is your personal opinion, and you were talking about new generational books. Tell me about that. What were you trying to tell me?
I don't know, there's a popular term which I'm blank right now, but I always try to tell everyone, not just children but adults as well, read everything. So young kids are these days the new genre of books which has come, the David Williams and the Wimpy Kid and the Dog Diaries. At the same time, I mean, you'll have your personal favorites from the childhood, so I'm an Enid Blyton fan, but then there's also a school of thought that is not in favor of the Enid Blyton books because of the relatability. The world has changed. There's certain aspects in Enid Blyton books which are not accepted now. So this is a debate. This is an endless debate. So I always tell everyone, read everything. Yeah. Try everything before you pick what you like. Like, I'm a fiction, non-fiction reader both. I love to read all. I will always have 2 books running. I'm in the mood for this, so today this. I'm in the mood for that, so today. I always have 3 or 4 books running. So to children also, I'll say, pick the Wimpy Kid, pick the Enid Blyton, pick the Nancy Drew, pick the David Williams. Read everything. Explore everything. Yeah. Pick local authors as well.
Yeah, I'm a lot like you. I'm a moody reader.
Yeah.
So I read according to my mood. Like, what am I doing now? Am I having coffee? Who can match that?
Yeah. I went for a staycation. People typically would carry 1 or 2 books that they're currently reading. Yeah. I couldn't resist taking a duffel bag because I didn't know what I'll be in the mood of. And
a duffel bag
of books.
How many?
I have proof. I swear I did.
No,
that.
I believe you. Don't prove this to me. I believe you. Like I take probably one poetic book. Usually, if I'm traveling, I like something very poetic, very light-hearted, no story, nothing to it. So I'll read something like Michael Fedett, for example. So I'll read something super poetic and just short.
I was going for a staycation. It was a relaxing one, with nothing to do, and I was just supposed to relax for 2 days. I said, I'll just sit on next to the pool and read. 1 hour this, the other hour that.
I bet you that was the littest weekend ever, huh?
Best.
I bet you that was lit. Anisha, thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for coming on the show and for making the time. It was wonderful having you today.
Thank you so much for having me, Asma. It's an absolute pleasure. Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Best luck for you and Oman Books Lovers Club, and may you continue these initiatives as life goes on.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
You got it.